Hello, and how are we doing today, Cozy Club? It is a beautiful day, as always, for some DSA. Now, in today's video, we are going to be covering the huge buff and refresh in a full character spotlight on the god of the underworld himself, Hades. Now, Hades is a very interesting character. Now, in the DSA world, back in global launch, he used to be the top, the cream of the crop, the S tier that you guys know today. And with each, look at these graphics, with each and every month, he went from S and slowly made his way down because all he was doing was providing some very fast speed and some crazy damage. But over time, he had no synergy with the people around him. So my friends, is Hades gonna rise up the ranks and make his way back to S tier? Well, thanks to Panic and Pain, it's looking quite likely, and a huge refresh that made him a lot better character. Now, guys, leave me down in the comments below. Are you pumped for Hades coming back? As we talked about, my favorite thing, I love new characters. They're great and all, but these big character refreshes on old characters that we already had. Now, that just makes the heart sing, my friend. So we're gonna go ahead and cover Hades' stats today. We're gonna cover his abilities and what they used to be and what they are now with the character refresh. We're going to cover the ability priority guide for Hades and which teams you should rock him in. Lastly, we're going to cover my thoughts on Hades and is he worth investing in? Now, if you didn't go after Hercules, it might be a good idea to go after what's looking like one of the best Hercules counters, being Hades. So as you know, Cozy Club, we went over the entire refresh updated notes live on Twitch, but since then, the patch has gone live and I found a few things that they did not mention. Now, first of all, Hades' damage went way up. His basic attack went up a ton of damage, which we'll cover in the ability section, but the continuous damage went up by an insane amount. I'm talking 800 all the way up to about 6,000 at max level that his continuous damage is going to do each tick. And we kind of saw that with Ursula, but it's nice that they included that within the update. I'll also point out a couple of other numbers that changed since the update notes, but altogether, Hades is definitely looking a lot better and his damage only got more significant. All right, Cozy Club, let's go ahead and cover the god of the underworld. Again, we heard the story of him falling from Olympus down to the underworld and also top of the tier list to the bottom of the tier list pretty much, or at least from starting up in S tier. But we're gonna go ahead and cover his stats. Now, the one thing I love about Hades is he can really work in so many different teams. He's actually a really good plug and play character because he does have some phenomenal stats and he's great for free to play because you can plug him in with people like Fred and other continuous damage heroes like Demona that you get very early to activate some continuous damage teams. But now with more mythical characters coming out, especially villain mythical characters, we're looking like we're getting kind of a full squad of mythicals. And also one of the biggest reasons I like Hades is not only does he work really well for the whales and the pay to play people that play this game, but also he's a phenomenal character for the free to play community. He has got great stats. You can unlock him in the Sorcerer's Tournament Exchange. Really not that hard to unlock. And his stats really make up for his lack of synergy. He can be plugged into just about any team. And now that we're getting more villains like a villain leadership ability and Ursula and more mythical characters, especially villain mythical characters, we're starting to finally see the synergy come with Hades. All right, Cozy Club, let's go ahead and take a look at the stats first of Hades. Now, he is going to be fully loaded at T8 here, but he does scale very nicely. Now, Cozy Club, quick disclaimer, Hades, with all of his great stats, come really hard gear levels. Hades is one of the hardest characters to gear, especially from T6 to T7, but he gets some great offense and some great stats from it. But quick disclaimer, he's a nightmare to go ahead and level up. However, you can go ahead and use him also for the Stitch Tower, so he does have that. But looking at his T8 stats maxed out, he's got himself 2,792 offense, some great offense numbers there, slapping offense stone, and he's putting up some big, crazy damage numbers. 611 defense, so solid defense, 18,679 health. little bit on the squishy side, but when he dips below a threshold, he does activate and become a lot faster. He's got himself 25% crit chance at T8, 180% crit power, so some good, great crit damage when you're able to go ahead and land those critical hits. And then he's got 130 speed, making him one of the fastest characters within Disney Sorcerer's Arena, which is going to make him a great plug and play for free to play altogether, but also just lightning fast, even with an offense stone on him later in the game. We've got 45% tenacity. This is monstrous tenacity, really allowing him to resist all those harmful effects that are going to try and stop the Underworld god from doing his thing. So that's a great amount of tenacity. Seriously, some of the highest within the game, being at 45%. And I love that he's kind of this god that can resist these harmful effects while dishing them out to the opponent. Now, lastly, he's got a precision of 10% and an evasion of 10%. Altogether, some really great stats. And honestly, with Pain and Panic pre-refresh, Hades was already doing so much. Now with his fully loaded kit, he's absolutely destroying. Now Hades is an offense character, and honestly, it's probably best to throw an offense stone on him. However, if you don't have Pain and Panic or other mythicals, go ahead, you can throw a speed stone on him, especially within the free-to-play community, as they can really just lap opponents. He's so fast and is able to put out and pump out so much damage so quickly. So I do like an offense stone on my Hades, especially with Pain and Panicking, calling him to assist so much. However, I can understand if you do want to capitalize on that fast speed and throw a speed stone on him. All right, Cozy Club, let's get to the good stuff and talk about Hades' kit. We're going to be going through all of his moves, not only before the refresh, but also what he got after the refresh to make him an absolute monster. Now, one of the things I like about Hades is he's not a legendary character. However, he utilizes empowered that you see in people like Elsa and Beast and now Hercules to make him stronger throughout the battle. So you guys are going to go ahead and see white text talking about the text and what he does in battle. And then if the text is yellow, it's going to be talking about what he does under empowered. So looking at his first ability, his basic attack, honestly, very strong basic attack, hitting 2,000 damage. If he's empowered, he can hit 3 different times, and he can inflict big chances to hit critical strikes, as he has a 40% bonus critical strike chance when empowered. Now, this will be against people with harmful effects on them, but really strong there, and he also had the chance to inflict continuous damage. Now, after the refresh, my friend, there's a lot in here that they didn't mention. Now, Fireball is going to get a big 1,100 increase to its base damage. Now, this is going to scale depending on your level, but it's going to get a nice damage upgrade to the basic, and like we've talked about with Pain and Panic, calling Hades to assist so often you can Peter Pan shadow them and continue to lay out some big damage numbers. Now, not only that, look at the big increase in damage on the extra fireballs that will be coming from Hades. They all got bumped up to that nice 3,000 damage number, whereas it was at a measly 1,200 damage before that. So a lot more damage coming from the basic, especially on an empowered Hades. But my friends, what I want to pull your attention to is going to be the next ability in the after, and we'll talk about it in a second, but it is crazy what was not mentioned in the patch notes. Next up for his ability is Scorched Earth, and this is going to be all of really Hades' abilities. Even his basic attack, when it's empowered, can hit multiple characters. Now, Hades is great at putting continuous damage out there and just overwhelming the opponent with these harmful effects. However, I will say he's absolutely insane against shield users, which pretty much is everything that you guys hate being Big Hero 6, guys. So Hades is going to be doing bonus damage against characters with shield up to 100%. You guys can see before the refresh, he was able to deal 5,758 damage to target opponents and all flanking opponents. Now, again, if you don't know flanking, go ahead and check out the positioning guide up above. But he's dealing 100% bonus damage against opponents affected by shield. So pretty much anyone under that Hero Hamada lead, after you clear those evades, will be getting some big damage behind their shields. Now, if an opponent is affected by continuous damage, you're going to be inflicting another continuous damage to that opponent, dealing almost 1,000 damage over 2 turns. And if he is empowered, he's going to go ahead and gain counter from this attack. However, after the refresh, the Scorched Earth, they left out something absolutely monumentally huge. If you guys go ahead and look at the before section, you can see that continuous damage is going to deal 837 damage over 2 turns, which we were saying, yeah, it's about 1,000 damage, not bad. That has been increased by 7 times. Look at 4,282 damage at max level is that continuous damage increase, and that's going to scale as you level up Hades and gear him up. Look at the difference of damage and how much more damage the continuous damage ticks do, kind of following Ursula in the same suit. Absolutely a huge kind of hidden buff to the overall continuous damage, and you're going to see that both on Scorched Earth and on Combust. All right, so we've gone through the basic, we've gone through the first ability. Now looking at Combust, and this is the ability that really makes Hades just crazy. Now with Panic and Pain, it's going to get even worse. All right, so before the character refresh, he was able to deal up to 4,500 damage to all opponents. So a nice AoE ability there with a 75% chance to inflict continuous damage on all opponents. Again, dealing almost 1,000 damage over 2 turns. Now, if he was empowered, this was unavoidable. So he could go through those evades. He could hit no matter what. Baymax, he's not going to be sidestepping or anything like that. That was a huge bonus. Now, however, before all this was going on with Pain and Panic and with now this empowered Hades means he didn't have a lot of health left. So you weren't really seeing a lot of these moves get their empowered state with them. But now with Pain and Panic able to get empowerment over to Hades with full health, you're going to be seeing a lot of these abilities a lot more. And now after the refresh, continuous damage is increased to 4,886, just like Scorched Earth. Check that out. 837 before, now 4,886. Absolutely insane from Combust there, and considering it has a 75% chance to inflict this, you're going to get a lot of continuous damage on the field that will instantly evaluate for some huge damage. Now, this is such a big deal, the damage increase, mainly because of that instant evaluation. You're going to instantly trigger some big damage numbers. Now, that used to have been maybe about 2,000, but we're looking at 4,886 per tick now. A lot more damage. Quickly, guys, just a 2-second moment of silence. Thank you. That's for Demona. Demona was already not a great character, but she had that one little niche. She's like, I can evaluate damage. And what that means is instantly trigger all of the continuous damage out on the field. That was Demona's kind of secret sauce. But now that Hades, the god of the underworld, and arguably just a much more awesome character, can do this, Demona's on the bench. And, you know, quick shout out in the comments. Are you wanting gargoyles in this game? I want to see it. I know a lot of you guys talk about it. Let's get a full gargoyle team. At least that's probably when Demona is going to be relevant again. So Cozy Club, this is going to make Hades absolutely insane for those continuous damage teams. And you can rock those pretty early on within the game. Pair him up with people like Fred. If you're early, put Demona in that lineup. And again, you can have Hades, Fred, Scar, Jafar. There's a lot of characters. You'd be surprised how many characters can put up continuous damage. In fact, here's a quick graphic on how many characters can inflict continuous damage. So looking at this graphic, build your continuous damage team, and Hades is going to be a great spot to go ahead and fill in that team. Now, my last note on Combust, you guys are going to hear more about it in the Pain and Panic guide, but PAP, Pain and Panic, PAP, they can go ahead and trigger Combust over and over for Hades as long as he's already empowered, and that's really where the damage is going to shine and why I strongly recommend the offense Ruby Stone. Now, lastly, we're going to look at Hades' passive ability, Unbridled Rage. Now, looking at Unbridled Rage, before on his turn start, if he was below 60% health, as we talked about earlier, he is going to be able to remove stun from himself, which Strength of the Gods does inflict stun. So you've got a nice little cheeky counter to that a little bit. And if that does reduce Hades' health below 60%, which it's a big ability, it's going to, you're not going to be able to stun Hades. So a nice little counter, kind of a throwback to the movies there. Now, Hades naturally does get empowered. If Pain and Panic are not there, he gets empowered by going below that 60% health, and he's going to be able to increase speed turn meter by 40%, kind of giving him a quick turn if you take his health down. So the great thing about that is he's able to kind of multiply do this. So if you get him over that health line and then back under, it's nice to get all that speed turn meter going. All right, so after Unbridled Rage's refresh, you're going to see some big differences and some stuff they didn't mention in the patch notes. Now, first of all, the undefeatable is going to go up to 5. They said 3, it's going to be up to 5. And also on turn start, he'll have a 10% chance. per villain teammate, so up to 40% chance to gain undefeatable, up to a max of 5. So just with Hades pretty much being on the battlefield with Panic and Pain, he's going to continue to stack these undefeatable, making him very hard to kill with up to 5. I mean, that's a lot of deaths, Cozy Club. And again, the best part of the after as well is if he's already empowered, if he falls below that 60% threshold, he's going to immediately activate Combust yet again, activating those continuous damages and delivering some crazy damage. This makes Hades so great because it allows him to keep us empowered and do all these great abilities even longer. And again, basic, Combust, Scorched Earth, it doesn't matter what you do, they're all going to do some massive effects. Now, looking at the abilities one more time, I suggest typically using Combust to open up the battle, inflict that continuous damage everywhere, and then you want to use Scorched Earth to land yet another row of continuous damage on the flanking front row with 3 characters. Now, if Pain and Panic are on the field, he's going to be able to use Combust yet again, which is going to activate all those continuous damages that you just laid out. And really, just those two together have so much synergy, they can pretty much take out the enemy team by themselves. Now, quick disclaimer, there's a lot of little kind of intricacies within this Combust going off with Pain and Panic, and we'll cover that within their guide. All right, now time for ability priority. Now, Hades is a little bit different than the newer characters. All of his abilities aren't as essential to level up to get the core mechanics of them. However, looking at the basic attack here, going one by one, you get 15% to critical strike, so that's not bad, although 25% is not the worst, but you want to go up to that 50% damage dealt, and this used to not be important, but getting each hit from this up to 3 continuous damages for 2 turns is going to be absolutely essential, so this is going to be definitely something you want to aim for. Now, going to Scorched Earth, you guys can see right here that you're really going to want to go ahead and get level 2 as soon as possible so that you can, you know, pretty much decimate Big Hero 6 squads and do some big damage against shields, and then go ahead and go for that 50% damage dealt. Now, level 4 is kind of a luxury. Now, it can do up to 100% bonus damage against shields. If you do go for the level 4, it's going to be a nice thing to have at the end of having your maxed out Hades, but it's not absolutely essential. It just adds to his overall big time damage. And I can't get over these continuous damage numbers with an offense stone. Now, going on over to Combust, you guys can see, definitely want to go ahead and take up his continuous damage and a 50% chance to inflict it. Absolutely vital there. And to get the other 15%, you're going to go ahead and grab that from the level 4. However, a 50% damage dealt is really the cream of the crop, so getting this to level 3 is super imperative. And again, nice luxury. I would go ahead and maybe get Scorched Earth before this. However, with the big continuous damage numbers now, it might not be a bad idea to upgrade level 4 whenever you get to that. And finally, Unbridled Rage. Now, you can go ahead and see that really he doesn't really need much from this ability. He unlocks the ability as a whole, and then when this character gains empowered, he'll be gaining more speed turn meter. Now, that's definitely something you're going to want to grab, and he's going to also have a 10% speed meter increase going up to 40%. Again, not crazy essential, but very solid. All right, guys, so there we go. We've got through the stats, the abilities, some good teams, that continuous damage that he can fit in. Now, again, I love putting him under that Ursula lead. I like throwing him with some more survivability under that, so you put Pain and Panic with him. Hades, you can put Davy Jones and Scar, you can put Shere Khan there. There's so many villains that you can place under Ursula to make Hades that much better. Now, Ursula obviously is the best character to pair him up with, but if you don't have all villains, try to put him under a continuous damage team or just plug him with any team altogether. Even having an Ana to pump him up to go faster makes some great free-to-play teams altogether. And Pain and Panic, start farming them. They don't need to be very high gear to do what they do effectively, because their sole purpose is to pump up Hades and support all the things that he does. And so, Pain and Panic, just unlock them, get them on your team, and pair them up with Hades for a nasty duo. Now, quickly, Cozy Club, one thing I want to add is that Hades, honestly, is one of the best new free-to-play characters. When he's paired up with Panic and Pain, you're able to really punch up and take out so many teams. Now, I feel like this deserves its own videos, guys, so go ahead and stick with me. I'm going to have a new video talking about the best free-to-play Hades teams and pay-to-play Hades teams either later today or I'll have it tomorrow. All right, my friends, so some last-minute tips on how to best use your Hades. We talked about doing Combustion to Scorch Earth, back to using the passive that will do Combustion. But outside of that, if you have him free to play and not in a mythical team, just get that hero upgrade to Hades, that turn 1, and you're going to do some big damage to open up the battle, and then you can just continue on from there. Again, once those continuous damages start ticking, and you've got all the continuous damage dots on the field from Fred and Damona and all the different sources, you are going to unload a bomb once they are activated. Now, again, Pain and Panic are the way you want to go, but Hades can fit in nicely just about anywhere. Now, one last thing before I forgot, Mortal Potion is going to easily be the spell that you want to pair with Hades. Now, not just with Hades, with the new buff to Mortal Potion, this is pretty much the new essential spell. It's going to be very solid as it hits AoE damage. It's going to prioritize invincibility, which will be great against Maui and Hercules and those events that you see within DSA. And then it flips so many helpful effects, which we know with Big Hero 6, there's just a plethora of helpful effects on the field. And if you have Pain and Panic and Hades, you're only going to get more effectiveness out of this. So in Club Conquest and in live PvP, if you've got Pain and Panic, naturally go ahead and pair up Mortal Potion to take down the god of Hercules. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for our Hades Spotlight. A little bit of a longer side, but I wanted to cover all the refreshes. Now, pros and cons. Pros on Hades, he's insane, great stats and great damage with some good synergy now with the mythical characters coming out. Some of the cons, he's really hard to gear. He doesn't have synergy outside of PAP or Pain and Panic. Or if you don't have an Ursula lead, he's not going to have all those kind of nice synergy mechanics that you see happen. But he's a great high damaging, high speed character that you can plug in. So we'll put that under the pro section. And altogether, a very solid character. Now, the last con is you probably want Pain and Panic to make him work most effectively. But a great pro is he is absolutely free to play and very easy to get altogether. So, my friends, if you enjoyed today's video and the character spotlight, leave down in the comments below what is your favorite thing about the god himself. And guys, we've talked about it before. It helps me out a ton. If you go ahead, stop what you're doing and quickly like today's video and subscribe if you haven't. My friends, I hope you have a beautiful day. We've got the Pain and Panic guide coming real soon and a March tier list coming early next week. You guys have a great rest of your day. And until next time, stay cozy.